back to Mike's Diabetes World. Let's do it. Current blood sugar is sitting at 10.2. I have 4.025 units of insulin current, fully calibrated. Had some low today, early in there. Breakfast, I had 91 grams of carbs. That gave me about 10 units of insulin. So, all in all, pretty good. Now, if we move along, yesterday wasn't the greatest day if you take a look at this. Current blood sugar is sitting at 57%, 43% above, 57% in range, 10.1 average sugar. So this needs to come down a bit. 10 for me is a little high, but I like it around 8 personally. But all in all, pretty good. But according to, if I went to a diabetes educator and said, here's my thing for yesterday, they would say, well, we need that to be at 70%. But if we're over 10, when I could be 10 to 12, the number can be a little bit varied. I like it below 70 or above 70 personally, but we'll see. Today, I want to discuss, when do I go for treatment? Now, I'm going to be discussing when do I actually call a doctor, go and seek time in an emergency. And we'll discuss that. So I'll be right back with carrying on. Okay, now, so often when I get sick, I kind of play sort of a, not necessarily a mind game with other people, but mind games with myself. And that is, am I really sick enough? And I put things off a lot of times saying, no, I'm not really that sick. And for example, last time I got sick with DKA, which is diabetic ketoacidosis. For those of you who are diabetic, I got really sick. I didn't know how sick. I was kind of putting it off, going. And the nurses came in here and said, well, we're debating on whether to send you. And I kind of hummed and hawed and said, excuse me for that, I'm fine. And I wasn't giving off the traditional smells associated with DKA, that stale wine kind of smell. And when I ended up finally going, when they finally called an ambulance to take me, I don't know, 3 blocks, not even 3 blocks, a block down the hallway. I ended up being sicker than I truly thought. I ended up in ICU. But you can watch one of my story times and I can go over that. But I think if you're starting to have that conversation as I do, then maybe we really need to say, hey, if I'm having this conversation, oh, my skin's peeling, summertime, wonderful, then I should go. And that could be making an appointment with your doctor, going and seeing your doctor, which is always your first line of defense. One, actually, that's second line. First line of defense is having your plans already set out with your doctor and working with that. If that doesn't seem to be solving the problem, then you need to move on to taking care of yourself by making an appointment and going and seeing a doctor. If you haven't got one done, then two. Three is pretty well where you have to go to emergency. Three, for me, has always been where I've been violently ill. And I've constantly been sick all the time, and that really is a time. The night I ended up going to the next morning when they sent me to the hospital, I had been vomiting all night. I had been peeing all night. I felt like crap. And in my mind, oh, just take insulin and you'll be fine. But that wasn't working for me. I was going through major problems. But I should have said, I need to go. I was controlling my diabetes. I should have said I needed to go. And when I went, immediately IV was started. Immediately I got on to IV drip of insulin. And I dropped down, I don't know, I was up at 45 or something. And after all day of on insulin drip, they brought me down to, I think it was 20. So I was sick. And you shouldn't have to get in that mindset. I think the first step you truly have to do is to see your doctor and say, okay, when things are getting bad, whether it's DKA or I have the flu or any other ailment, when do I actually need to go to the hospital? My diabetic nurse kind of gave an insight to this years ago, and that was if you're vomiting for no apparent reason, you need to get help. And you need to go to hospital, whether it's by ambulance or somebody takes you, but you need to go. I didn't even think of this years ago. I was at home and I had been sick all week, and it was sort of like, yeah, I was throwing up. It was coming out both ends. We'll just put it there, okay? And I was truly sick. It was the seasonal flu, and I very rarely get the seasonal flu. colds. I may get a little stuffy nose, but it's been years since I've actually had, knock on wood, the really heavy cold. And she said, I just started new pump, and she said to me, "Oh, I think you need to go. I'm going to call the doctor on call, and I think we need to send you to the hospital." Well, I went to the hospital. I ended up being there for 9 months, but I was at the hospital. When I came home, I took down the Christmas tree, and in 2 months we put it back up. So I don't know why, but identifying what level requires what care is probably the better name for this video. Do you need full medical care for a blood sugar that's been high for 2 days? Probably not. But if it's been high for 2 days, you're showing ketones and you're vomiting, then you really should go. For a diabetic who's vomiting, we know that we're unable to keep any food down. And food is one of the pillars of diabetes control. And if you're unable to keep food down, then you really need to go, because how is your body going to get sugar? If you are drinking something, you may not be as serious as someone who can't keep anything down, but you still need medical advice, whether it's the doctor's office, or is it full-fledged medical care. But going and getting help is important. Don't play games like I did. Oh, well, I'll keep getting better. I know I'll get better. Oh, things will get so much better. And then when they don't, and you end up in a much more serious case, I was in emergency, and then I was in ICU. It was something truly wild. But I always, when I get medical treatment, start feeling better. So wake up, because if you're sick and you're showing ketones, your blood sugars are out of whack. If you remember, I talked about this. This is my diabetes. I know it's there, and every day I kind of control it, but I know it's there. When you're sick, it's here. Hi, I'm his diabetes. I'm not doing control, but it's my diabetes. I'm here. So follow up. Call your doctor. Visit your doctor. If you really need to, don't hesitate and go to your local hospital. But it's probably the best idea is to talk to your doctor. Come up with a game plan so that when you're sick, you know when you need medical help and when not to need medical help. Pure and simple. Have a great day, and we'll talk later. Bye now. My email address is mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com. All one line. Drop me